Now I want you to know, America, he told us off camera that this next part of the list was the inflammatory part. And you saw how I just cut up on that one.
Right.
So I don't even know what's about to happen right now. Let's see.
All right.
Let's see.
Can you see 10 through 6?
Nigga Joe.
Can everybody see 10 through 6? I'll wait. Because I want to give people a chance to digest it.
I'm waiting on 5 through 1.
That's
so
fine.
I can talk about 10 through 6.
That's fine.
I know what I got a problem with already. But go ahead.
Okay.
Because you said this on a previous show.
We can leave this up for a minute. And I'll kind of talk over it, and then I'll stop sharing the screen. We can drop it down. All right. This list right here, this part to me personally was the toughest, because 10 through 6 is like guys that can be in the top 5, not in the top 15. Like, they can't be in the bottom tier. I think all 5 of these guys right here can make a case to be in the top 5. That's just my personal opinion. All right. Especially with number 10. Number 10 to me is a disappointment, because I've watched Anthony Davis play in person. I've watched Anthony Davis play when he was with the Pelicans. And I've watched Anthony Davis win a championship with the Lakers. And I thought to myself, and I've said it to my brothers on this panel, Anthony Davis to me is one of the most talented players in the NBA today. Like, I think Anthony Davis can win an MVP. I think Anthony Davis can win a Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I think he can do it all. I really don't think he has a weakness. But it's too many times where I hear my brother, who was a Lakers fan in Wales, say that Anthony Davis is dropping the ball. Anthony Davis is not in shape. Anthony Davis doesn't take charge. Anthony Davis doesn't show up. Well, what does that say to me? That Anthony Davis is not a top tier player. He's not a top 5 player. But talent alone tells me he's a top 10 player. If Anthony Davis ever figures out that he's the best player on the floor night in and night out, he'll live in the top 5. He'll stay there. And then this will be disrespectful. But until then, it is what it is. It is what it is. Kind of like the next guy, number 9, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard suffered a horrific knee injury. Some people don't even think he'll play next season. When Kawhi Leonard plays, I watch him some nights, and Kawhi Leonard is like the most fundamentally sound guy you'll ever see. Like, literally, you'll watch him play and it's like, dude, you can't even slow this guy down. And then you'll see on the defensive end, which is what a lot of these guys on this list bring to the table, is that he shuts down the opposing player's best wing or guard. That's what Kawhi Leonard does. He's a champion. He's a finals MVP. He's just that dude. But then there are some nights where Kawhi Leonard feels like he's not even engaged in the game. You can't be that. You can't be mentioned with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo if you don't bring it every night. That's what I think about Kawhi Leonard. James Harden, let me tell you something, folks. And I want to bring the screen down as I say this. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to bring the screen back up. I have long been against James Harden being an elite player, because the way that I was brought up, it's 2 sides of the floor. All right. You can go and get buckets, but if you're giving up the same amount of buckets on the other end, then like it doesn't matter. It's just a wash. James Harden has taught me, the defensive guy, the guy that studies defense, that appreciates defense, that a better offense is better than a better defense. And I cringe as I say that, but James Harden at one point was out of shape, demanding a trade from Houston, came back to get traded to the Brooklyn Nets, old and flabby, looking like he belongs like in a rec league, and then was considered a true MVP candidate. When Kyrie and KD weren't even playing, this guy was carrying the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm just telling you, the way the NBA is played today, he's the most unstoppable offensive force in the game. The way that they ref the game today, you can't do anything with him. He's going to go to the line 10 times. He's strong because he's 6'5", 225, 230 pounds. He can finish. Like, he's that dude. Doesn't really play much defense, but I'm just telling you, his offensive game is legit. And so you can't really say anything about James Harden, man. He's that guy. Another guy that I just started giving the amount of respect to that he deserves is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, to me, is kind of like James Harden. Got all the talent in the world, but doesn't really have the drive, the competitive spirit, doesn't understand what he's working with until this year. For as much crap as I've talked about Joel Embiid in the playoffs this year, with a guy as a teammate who's considered an all-NBA guy that was passing the ball at point-blank range, and Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid carried the Philadelphia 76ers throughout the playoffs. On one leg, by the way. Joel Embiid is the second most dominant force in this game. Period. And I'll go ahead and share a secret with you. It ain't LeBron James that's in front of him. Joel Embiid is the second most dominant force in this game today. Okay? At the next pick is probably my favorite player on this list because he's fearless, because he doesn't pull any punches. He's like one of the realest guys in the league. And just gets it honest, man. Damian Lillard. Man, Damian Lillard to me, like when I watch this dude play, I just smile, man, because like it's rare when you see a guy that knows his place, but still is like, let's get it in anyway. I watched Damian Lillard do an interview one time, and Dan Patrick asked him, who's the better shooter, you or Steph Curry? And he said, well, probably Steph, right? Because Steph started the whole shooting from the timeline, half court thing. He said, but if we got to play, I still pick me. You know what I mean? Like, all that's impressive, but when it comes down to it, I still believe in myself. What Damian Lillard has done in Portland, keeping that team relevant, where it feels like we have to give CJ McCollum props. We're giving CJ McCollum props because he plays with Damian Lillard. It ain't the other way around. CJ McCollum is literally a name because of Damian Lillard. Like, if you look back on it, go back and look at the games from the playoffs this year, the Portland Trailblazers really had no reason being in the playoffs. They were just there because a guy named Damian Lillard, Dame Time, was carrying them. He's unguardable. His range is unlimited. He's not the best defender in the world, but I kind of look at him like James Harden. What you get on the offensive end is immeasurable. You can't compare it to him trying to get a stop. It's just different. And I'm not a guy that asks superstars to leave their teams because Giannis proved you don't have to do that. But I wish he could get up out of there, man, because he deserves so much better. So much better. So y'all have been patient with me. Y'all have sat there and listened to me ramble. I would love for y'all to give me feedback. I really would, though. Who wants to go first? Because everybody's talking at the bit. Go, Joe. First. Go.
How Joel not in the top 5? How Joel is behind Dame Lillard?
That's a great question, Joe. Joe, that's a great question.
Joel plays defense.
Thank you for asking, Joe. Thank you for asking. The one problem that I have, and you'll probably see this in my rankings, I have a real issue with guys that are not always dialed in. And I question that with Joel Embiid. Joel is not only the second most dominant player in the league, I think he's one of the top 5 most talented players in the league. Like, to be 7 foot tall, to be able to go and do everything that he wants to do and nobody can stop him. Like, I hold real stock in that, man. And when the dude shows up to the gym on a Tuesday night and he's angry because of something Shaq or Chuck said, he goes out and gets 40-20. So I know he can do it, Joe. I really do. He should be in the top 5. Him and Anthony Davis are the 2 guys that I say all the time, man. Like, it should be no question that those 2 guys should be in the top 5 every year, as long as they're like younger and healthy, because they suffer a lot of injuries too. But as long as they're healthy and into it, but I shouldn't have to ask a guy who makes that much money and is the key player on their team to be into it every night. I shouldn't have to ask Joel Embiid to be dialed in. When he's dialed in, nobody can stop him. That's why they advanced as far as they did. but it's also their detriment because their best player is not always dialed in. It shouldn't take Shaq calling you out on a live national show for you to say, yeah, you're right, I need to turn it up some.
I love you, but I don't like it.
I understand. Hey, listen, I understand. We're gonna love each other after this, but we don't have to like it. See, America, what you're seeing right now is what we really do in our group text, or before the pandemic, what we really did in person. We don't have to like it, but we love each other. T, I see you. Come on.
I'm just trying to figure out why Dame ain't top 5 in your, as you said.
Just stand by. We're gonna get there, T.
But
Your rant is coming in the top 5. As well as this brother right here down here. He's saving his. He's saving his. He want to say something right now. But he's waiting.
Of the 5 you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The 5 guys you mentioned. Right now. The 5 guys you mentioned.
Yep.
All of those guys are talented.
To be in the top 5.
But they're questionable talents.
I know.
They're just talented, but they have no drive. Except for Dame. And Dame's diminutive. He's smaller than the rest of the group.
So T, you see what I'm getting at. And when you're talking, in my opinion, when you're talking 5 to 10, that's what separates great from all time. It is. When we go back to our era of watching basketball, it's really not much besides Michael Jordan. We'll take Michael Jordan out. For the rest of those guys, it's really not much that separates them from great to legendary.
Okay.
It comes down to work ethic,
okay,
competitive spirit, and injuries. Now, injuries, you can't hold that against a man. You can, in this case, we have to put it into account. But I'm talking about just for them as an individual, you can't hold that against them.
Right.
Because injuries happen. That's just life. Like life happens.
Right.
But those other 2 things, your drive and your competitive spirit, that it is what it is, man. It is what it is. If Kobe Bryant was alive today, he would tell you, I just want a dude that wants it, that'll go to war with me.
Yeah, I would.
So, well, would you like to say something before we get to the top 5?
I'm gonna hold it. I have a general spiel.
I know, I know you do. I've seen it. I felt it on your spirit since we started this segment, and that's okay.
And you're correct.
And that's
when he saw the first 15 through 11.
I know.
My kids wanted me to tell y'all to make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me across all social media platforms, like the videos, and share them. Did I forget anything?
And turn on the post notifications.
Y'all heard them. And also, visit Statement Tees, LLC.com and shop with us. That's Statement Tees. Every t-shirt you wear
makes a statement.